as a horror fan, one of the only things that I find more annoying than a disappointing horror film is a disappointing horror film that looked like it would be amazing. Yes, I do judge posters and marketing, but the poster art for Motel Mortal is pretty creepy and I really thought it would look brilliant. This was released in 2013, currently on Amazon Prime. I didn't look at any of the reviews beforehand, but it actually has 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb across almost 2,000 reviews. Now, I often disagree with the reviews on Amazon, well, also on Amazon Prime, but also on IMDb. I'm often a little bit more positive, or try to be. But with this one, I feel like that rating's pretty fair. Now, if this was the first ever horror film that existed, maybe it would be quite decent. But this is like every horror film that I have ever seen, and not in a good way. So, it was directed by Brett Donowho and written by Tj Klimfel, and I think the premise is really good. I don't want to give away too much, but basically there's an incident that happens that involves a little girl. I love horrors that involve children. That dichotomy of evil and innocence is just fabulous. And that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to this. The poster art for this is incredible, and I will say whoever was in charge of the marketing and the posters and the other digital assets, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But once that is over and done with, it's pretty cliche in every sense, and the lighting, I also found the lighting to be very terrible. It's about these 5 young friends who are stranded at a motel, an abandoned motel, and suddenly there's hauntings and things go terribly wrong for them. Sounds cliche? It is cliche. There are a lot of films that tackle this kind of subject, and some of them do it in a way that's really interesting, and it actually worked really well, and it's quite enjoyable. But this one is unfortunately not the case. The narrative is really lacking. The only thing that makes it a bit interesting is the character of the little girl, who I think is brilliant. She is very well acted, and whenever she's on screen, I feel a little bit better about the film. I feel like maybe she is a bit more interesting than the film itself could have been. But the narrative as it progresses just doesn't engage me. Horror films are supposed to increase in intensity and make you more and more interested as it develops, and that's just completely not true here. I just started to lose patience, and as it continued, I just thought, well, when is this actually going to pick up? When is it going to start getting creepy and interesting? Unfortunately, it didn't, and one of the main reasons why I didn't like this is the lighting. It's very dark, and this is constant. It's so dark that I struggled a lot of the time to see what was actually happening. Now I'm watching this on a reasonably sized tablet on Amazon Prime, very obviously good quality streaming. There shouldn't have been any reason why the lighting made this difficult to see, other than just poor lighting. The makeup and special effects, or the makeup effects, were really good, particularly for the little girl. There were times when we could see it when the lighting was okay, but when a lot of the more terrifying aspects were happening, I felt like my eyes were basically closed. Nothing wrong with the acting across the board. As I said, loved the acting from the little girl, but across the board, no issues there. Ultimately, it is just the narrative and the lighting that made this not great. And for that reason, I wish I could recommend it. It sounded really good. The marketing made it look amazing. Unfortunately, I'm glad I've seen it to make up my own mind. I was going to say I wish I'd seen the reviews beforehand, but as I said, I often disagree with reviews and like to watch things for my own, to see what I think. But this one, unfortunately, I should have read the reviews. It didn't do anything for me at all.